Hey everyone, it's Celeste. I am in my backyard and this is zone 9B, and I am doing some little quick maintenance. It's obviously nighttime, you can see, but I do have fence lights all around the property, plus I have some grow lights that I installed a little while ago. So I do have quite a bit of light, and I'm doing some of the maintenance in the yard, some things that I do during the winter time, and I thought it would be a really good idea just to shoot a quick little video and kind of talk about some of that. You'll notice that I have vines on my pergola, and I can tend to get a bunch of detritus that builds up along my border here. Plus I have a tree that I've talked about in some of my other videos, which can also cause issues. And so what's really important is to come out here and to get a lot of these leaves and things like that away from the plants as much as it possibly can. The lighting is not going to be the greatest just because it's at night. And yes, I do come out and I do this a lot. It's actually relaxing for me to do this. So it's one of the ways that I relieve stress in my life is to come out and to do some of the cleanup. But I thought I would just kind of show you some of the things that I do. If you have a garden like this is some of the stuff that you're gonna want to be thinking about as your plants are starting to progress and they're starting to root and grow bigger. I just redid this entire area, I want to say maybe about 2 months ago, so it's already growing like crazy. But there's a bunch of gross stuff. So let me just talk about a couple things. So you can see right here, it's this kind of stuff, that you're going to want to pull away from the plant. And as I'm doing this, what I'm doing is I'm actually also checking the plant. Let's see if I'm going to be able to do this with one hand. What I'm actually doing is I'm checking the plant as well for any type of rot or any type of ick that could possibly be there. This one's a little questionable. You can see right here, it's not in the best shape. So I'll likely just pop that out of there. Just because what I don't want to do is I don't want to leave behind any of these plants that are rotting. So you can see they're just not in the greatest shape, so I'm just going to yank them out. It's not worth leaving plants that are in a bad state, because what they'll do is they'll turn to mush and then they will rot the rest of your plants in your landscape. And so all you're going to do is you're just coming around and you're just kind of pulling a lot of these leaves out of here just so that it looks nicer, and making sure that there's no ick. This one's kind of cool, right? Because it's doing that trailing thing between the rocks right there. This is an echeveria, and with the echeverias, you're going to check underneath the plant. So you are going to be looking for any of the leaves that are potentially in a bad state. So I'm looking to see if I can find any, and of course the one that I pick is not going to have any. Oh, well, hey, that's good, right? So, if I see any little stragglers like this, I might pop them back in, maybe not, just depends on, how they're looking. But with echeverias, the new growth is coming out of the top. It's coming out of this part right here. And so the problem is that if you don't pull off the dead leaves from the bottom, then what will happen is it'll rot on the bottom. So you're constantly wanting to, pick those out of there so that you're not, ending up with a bunch of problems. So here's an example of a plant that has some rot on it. And these plants, this Agaboides, it grows very, very well in my yard, in zone 9B. But what it can do is it can get a lot of rot, and it's hard to see that it's doing that, but actually if you lift up down here you can see some of that. So with these plants, all I would do is I would just take a bunch of those bottom leaves off. So I'm just going to pull all of that out from underneath the plant and just take a lot of this off. Let me see if I can show you a little better. you know, anywhere where I suspect that there is going to be any type of rot, I'm just going to come in here and I'm just going to pop this off, pull this out, take any of those leaves out of there, and you know, that's going to help the plant quite a bit. If I don't like it after I've done it, if I think that I have too much stem, I see this one's going to go back nicely, right? It'll just pop right back into that little spot. But see how there's more airflow on the edge of the plant like that? That's what you're looking for. So, you know, if I didn't like that, if I looked at the plant and I said, yeah, see all of that? Bad. That's going to cause rot. But if, you know, I didn't, for example, like, you know, the way that the plant was looking, if I thought, okay, you know, this is, you know, it's too leggy, or the plant's popped out too far, and it wasn't kind of nestling, you know, back in there, I would just cut it off, let it harden off for, you know, a day or two, and just pop it right back in the same spot. Sometimes the you know, what you left behind, it's going to actually create another one for you, so you could end up with two, just because you beheaded it. Sometimes not. Sometimes that stalk dies, but you know, the beheaded plant will just go ahead and it will root all over again. Don't do this. Don't do something like this if you are in a wet area. If you are, you know, like tomorrow, for example, it's supposed to rain in my area, so I would not, you know, I'm not going to go around and start chopping things off unless I plan on throwing them away right now, just because that's going to end up creating, you know, issues, and it would cause, you know, rot to come up inside the stem, and I would end up losing the entire plant. But if it's going to be dry, you know, it's perfectly fine to do that. The plant will be fine. If you're in areas where it's harsher, so it's going to be super cold at night, or it's going to, you know, again, be super wet, you're not going to want to do stuff like that, because the plant's going to probably go into a more dormant state, and then it's not going to be happy about having to put some effort into creating roots, because basically what it wants to do is it wants to sleep. So it wants to be as lazy as possible and just, you know, absorb anything it can from the roots that it has in the soil, and for some of them they may not even be doing that. So it just depends. In my area, my grow zone, I have 3 seasons of growing, and it's mainly because, you know, right now we're almost in January, and it's 50 degrees at night. So you know, it's fine. I can come outside and I can do stuff like this, so long as I'm not going to have a bunch of rain. So, you know, just think about it in your area. But you can see that the plant, you know, once I've done this, it has a lot more airflow. It's a gorgeous one. You can see that it's a beautiful red on it. I'm really thankful that this is one of the ones that likes to grow very well in my yard. Hopefully that's helpful for you. You know, the main thing you just want to avoid is, you know, just get that detritus off of the plants. Get those rotten leaves off. The plants will love you for it. They will be thankful that you have removed a lot of that and that trapped moisture for them, and then they can, you know, go about being dormant as long as they need to, and then come back and give you beautiful flowers for the upcoming year once the growing season starts again. What I'm also doing is I'm looking to see, you know, if any of this stuff needs to get cut back. This guy is close. This is an Aloplicatilus that I put in, which is really cool, and its head is splitting. I don't know if you guys can see that right there. It's got 2 heads now. So one right here, and then the other one's starting right there. And that's what they do, and they turn into these like little mini trees. Really, really, really cool. So my idea was, you know, I wanted to have this Portulacaria afrovariegata, you know, kind of going down and cascading over the rocks like this, intermixed with some of the other plants. But, you know, I just have to kind of keep an eye on that if it's starting to get a little crazy, which is close, because I'm starting not to be able to see some of the rocks. So let me show you what you would do. So in this case, you know, part of what I want to do is I'm just going to cut very carefully, and you're going to cut one piece at a time so you can see. And look at all that. See all those leaves underneath there? That's really bad for the plant. And this, from a design perspective, what I'm looking for is I want to be able to make sure that you can see the rock that's underneath there, because I like that contrast, you know, with the rock against the black, and then with the plant starting to come through. So, but I don't want to just, you know, go in. What you see often is gardeners will make this mistake. Sorry, I'm adjusting myself here because I need to put the padding underneath my knees. What you'll see is a lot of gardeners that will just come in and they'll just do like a hack job. Looks horrendous. So don't do that. You know, you just want to cut back little pieces, kind of like this little guy, you know, going across here. So maybe I'm just going to cut, you know, that little bit out. And then I'm just going to keep looking and seeing, okay, you know, are there other pieces that maybe I just want to pop off and take out? Yeah, see, this one's not a very good looking piece. So I'm just going to pull that out and see how that's just, it looks nicer, right? You can see more of the rock now. It's exposing more of that landscape element, but it doesn't just look, you know, like it got a real bad haircut, which is what they can look like. If your gardener just comes through and hacks on them, they're going to look really bad. It also helps the plant because when you're pulling from the bottom, that, you know, obviously with the light coming down on the top of the plant, that's where the best growth is going to be. So actually when you're pulling stuff from the bottom and you're cutting out a lot of this, what you're doing is you're increasing the airflow for that plant. It actually makes the plant healthier. Plus, what it's going to do is not spend any of its time trying to fight off any of the diseases or any of those type of things that could be happening down there, because it's too moist and, you know, it's causing some of that rot. So it's really important to, you know, especially with these guys, you want to go in, you want to make sure that you're, you know, pulling as much of that underneath out and kind of lacing that out as much as possible. And then, you know, that's going to help you with keeping the plant healthier. And I can see right here, you know, this is a great example, right? There's a bunch of these just kind of unnecessary little branches underneath here. And so I'm just going to come in, I'm just going to kind of pull those out, and you can see it's actually exposing some of those leaves. By the way, be careful. This is where you're going to see spiders, and they're not going to be happy about you coming in and messing with their home. So, you know, just make sure that you're kind of thinking about that. And then you're just going to come in and you're just going to kind of lace out, you know, cut out some of these pieces, make it so that it looks a little nicer. If you make a mistake, it's okay. It'll grow back. It's not a big deal. And this is one kind that once it's established, it actually grows very fast. This is a kind of plant that is, it's not, you know, impossible to get it to root if you put it in the ground. It's just harder. So try, if you do have to move it or anything like that, you know, just try not to disturb the roots too much, because it's not going to like that, especially this time of year when it's not in its active growing season. So anyway, those are, you know, just things that I'm doing. I'm just going through and, you know, trying as much as possible to get a lot of this out. You can see some more here, right? This kind of stuff is the stuff that makes your plants rot, and you really want to make sure that you're, you know, getting that out of there. You want to make sure that you're increasing the airflow around your plants, and that's going to make them healthier. They're going to grow better come spring because they won't have spent, you know, that entire winter, you know, fighting off a lot of that rot, and they're going to look absolutely amazing. This guy's pretty happy. You can see some of my aloes are actually starting to flower, which is really, really cool. So super excited about that. Other thing that I'm also checking is if I have any of the cactus. I'm just going to be watching, you know, really carefully to make sure that I'm checking for any of the potential rot elements that could be happening with any of these. It's a little cold for mealybugs, so this time of year I usually don't have to worry about that too much. So I'm not too worried about, you know, all the ones that I have up there. You can see all along the fence line. Okay, so, hopefully you're spending some time out in your yard as we're getting towards the next year. As always, if you find these tips helpful for you, feel free to like and subscribe. I hope you're getting out over the holiday and spending some time in your yard and just having, a great time with your family. As usual, if you find this information helpful for you, please like and subscribe. I love to hear from everyone, and I wish you a happy new year. Thanks so much.